stopwatch has started. We have 10 minutes, and we're talking about the Arizona Coyotes. Guys, this is a season preview show. We're going to do all of these, 31 teams. And again, the Coyotes rebuilding quickly, not expected to do much this year, but probably could surprise. And I just want to do a quick rundown here. One of the most notable things about the Coyotes is the All Canucks fourth line of Louis Eriksson, Jay Beagle, and Antoine Roussel.
Oh, fourth.
Notable.
Be careful, Adam. The preseason says that might be the first.
Notably adding Shane Gostisbehere as well. And this is the first time that they will have OEL not in the lineup since 2009, 2010. Obviously, it's about the future. They got 8 picks in the first 2 rounds after this season. What do we expect from the Arizona Coyotes right now?
Well, this is the problem, right? Like we've been praising the Coyotes all offseason long because they're doing the rebuild the right way. 8 picks in the first 2 rounds upcoming. I think they have like 3 third-round picks 3 years from now, something like that. So that's all great until they hit the ice. And one thing I've criticized the Buffalo Sabres for is what are they doing? What are they doing heading into the season with 2 goalies making a league min? I didn't realize until we were doing research for this that so are the Coyotes.
Yeah, Carter Hutton, though. Big name on goalie, right?
And Joseph Coronar, and I was looking at...
What do you know about Joseph Coronar? Because I have to say that might be the first time I've seen that name.
Used to be, I want to say, the Sharks' 3rd goalie, who was sometimes the backup.
So he wasn't good enough to beat out Martin Jones?
No.
Or Alex Stalock?
No.
Okay.
No, Stalock's
gone.
Edmonton.
Yeah, so I know that. But, okay, so we know that the team isn't that great, but there are pieces here. And I think notably, is this not Phil Kessel's last contract year?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So
which means it's also the last year that the Leafs are on the hook for 1.2
right.
mil.
When you say there are pieces here, when I thought you were going to say is the prospects. Because I look at this year and I say, okay, what do the Arizona Coyotes want to get out of this season? It's not winning. They want to lose on purpose. That's why you have Joseph Konar as your goalie and you have Carter Hutton. What you want to see is development from Jacob Chikrin, Lawson Krause, Nick Schmaltz, and Clayton Keller. If you get those 4 guys to take a step forward, the season is a success. Because then you bring in you have 3 first-round picks coming. And then you bring in that to the core. You have your 8 draft picks this season. You get all that and you just add to those 4 are going to be your future for the next whatever years, and you keep selling off and you build around those guys.
And this year it's playing in the NHL on superstar difficulty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the NHL is always hard. It's going to be especially hard for the Arizona Coyotes this year. But part of me wonders if listen, I'm not going to talk them into being good.
No.
It's not going to happen. But scrappy, competitive. Think last year's Ottawa Senators, who didn't always get goaltending, but in the games that they did, they were really competitive and scrappy. So they get these vets from the Canucks, and there's now this leadership void with OEL. And I know Coyotes fans miss him, for nostalgia reasons. It was probably time to move on there. But also, remember when Shane Doan left the Coyotes as a player?
Mm-hmm.
OEL didn't want to be captain. He didn't want to be.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want. Maybe that's because he thought it should have still been Doan, but he didn't really want the mantle there. So what if this opens up a new possibility in the locker room, a new mix, a new culture for the team? And I'm certainly not saying OEL was a poison, but it allows them to start fresh. And I don't think the Coyotes could start fresh until they got rid of OEL, just because he's yesteryear. Mm-hmm. He's what used to be. So now they get to start anew.
They'll also have some guys that are on prove-it deals who are going to get a lot more ice time than they would anywhere else. Travis Boyd, name comes to mind.
Yep.
Useful player for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Vancouver Canucks last year.
He was.
Christian Fischer, 24 years old. He was supposed to be a part of this new core with Keller and Chikrin and Lawson Krause, and hasn't maybe developed into the player they had thought he could be. Doesn't mean he can't, though. He's still 24 years old, so we'll see. Ryan Dzingle's another one where you go, okay, This is a guy who scored 20 goals before. This is clearly a deadline sell-off. And here's the thing.
He's a free draft pick.
$1.1 million, that's really easy to trade to any team. And if you're a team that's rebuilding, and you're basically, the Leafs did this in 2015, 2016. They brought in a bunch of guys who,
mercenaries.
Yeah, mercenaries who were going to get a lot more spotlight than they normally would have, so that they could show their value to other teams where they could be traded to. And I think you look at a guy like Ryan Dzingel, and I think, okay, if I need third line winger scoring, Ryan Dzingel's the perfect guy. You can fit him under any cap at the trade deadline because the salary is basically already paid by then.
I want to know what the record is for picks in a draft since the NHL went down to 7 rounds, because I think Arizona's going to hit it. All those guys that you just mentioned, and there's still Phil Kessel.
Yes.
Who I don't think is going to stick around.
So he's got a modified no move and a no move, and it says RS modified no trade. So retained salary, obviously that's the Leafs. Modified no trade, player submits an 8-team trade list and a no movement clause, as in he can't be waived.
Yeah, that's Canada and Buffalo, we've learned.
Yes, so. Yeah. So he basically isn't going to a Canadian team. But what will be interesting, and I think this is going to be fascinating, based on the season that he has, is Phil Kessel worth more than Taylor Hall at this trade deadline versus last trade deadline?
Wow.
Think about that. Like, you could see Phil Kessel moving for more than a second, couldn't you? Maybe, if he has a big season.
He was sneaky good, too, because I want to say he started slow, and then he put up, I think it was 23 and 43 points in 56 games. And you know he's not going to miss any time. He hasn't missed a game since 2009.
Right, when he had cancer.
Yeah, no, he was
he had
off
surgery.
He had testicular cancer with the Bruins.
And then the Leafs.
And then when he joined the Leafs, he was coming off of shoulder surgery. After he recovered from that shoulder surgery, he never missed a game. It was a little hairy in the first game. He got nailed by Matthias Ohlund. That's how long ago that was, by the way.
Yeah.
And he hasn't missed a game since.
My question overall for this team and this franchise is this. Is this the year they finally get out of flux? When John Shaka took over, everybody talked about, it's a different world in Arizona now. Now it's going to change. Now they're going to have some stability. Then the new ownership group takes over. Now it's going to change. Now there's some stability. John Shaka leaves or gets fired, depending upon who you're asked, and then he's suspended for a year. And then they lose draft picks. Katie Strang's got the article in The Athletic about what's going on behind the scenes with the ownership culture all the way down. And of course, we just find out that their lease is going to not be renewed, and they have to move again. So, is this the year? Finally, that we see this team find some stability?
What does that mean, though?
Well, a place to live, a place to grow, and then I guess beyond that, a youth and a core of guys that are going to stay there more than a couple of years. Obviously, Clayton Keller's here forever and ever, amen. But I'm looking at this list, and beyond Nick Schmaltz and Andrew Ladd, every single player on this roster is a UFA with the exception of Lawson Krause and Christian Fischer next season. That's just on the forwards. Anton Strawman's up, obviously, and Labushkin as well. I mean, this is a team that will completely change, but I'm wondering if we're going to get, Jesse mentioned that young core, is this the year where that starts to really materialize and take shape, or is it going to be another restart?
No, they're a very sneaky team who I think might sneak up on us with a big news item. They have an unbelievable amount of draft picks. Mm-hmm. They don't need all those, and they're going to get more. If we talked about a quick rebuild. There's no quick rebuild with draft picks unless you get like the first or second.
Yeah, it's like 3-4 years.
Yeah,
usually.
It's going to take time. They have the picks. They have the cap room.
They got $11.083 million in cap room right now.
Yeah, right now. What are you up to, Arizona? Are you going to be retaining? Are you going to be eating dead cap? Are you a sneaky team involved in Jack Eichel? I'm telling you, my theory of Matthews, Eichel, and they go for the first pick for the next 2 years, it's not crazy. It just might.
You think they're going to sign Matthews and trade for Eichel?
If I'm Arizona, what I'm trying to do is set myself up to go after Matthews when he's a free agent. You could bring in Eichel if you wanted. You could bring him in now, and it's not going to hurt your odds of losing because he stays out of the lineup recovering from surgery. And because you're garbage, you're going to get the first pick potentially either next year or the year after. So I made a joke.
Running out of time.
I made a joke a few podcasts ago of Matthews, Eichel, Bedard. It just might happen.
Okay. Where do you project they finish, Jesse?
They are the last team in the division.
Okay. Steven?
Yeah.
I also think they're dead last in the division. Arizona Coyotes, that is your 10-minute season preview.